Okay, so I'm no Purple Thunder when it comes to this kind of video, so bear with me here. But I would like to start briefly from the beginning. So a couple weeks ago, I began looking for my misplaced dock for my Nintendo Switch. I've been turning the house upside down looking for it. And in the process, it's been quite the nostalgia trip. I ended up finding my DS games. A little while later, I find this guy and a handful of games that came with it, including Pokemon Silver and Pokemon Blue. So my dad bought this Game Boy years ago on eBay, probably around 2005, 2006, came bundled with a bunch of old Game Boy games, including these two games. And that was my first exposure to Pokemon. About a week later, I'm continuing to look for my misplaced Nintendo Switch dock. You'd think I would find that since I used that, most recently. But in a different part of the basement, in a different tub, I find some of my old Nintendo DS equipment, headphones, the case I used to carry my DS around with all its games. And then I find this thing. I completely forgot I had this. This was not part of the games that were bundled with my dad's Game Boy. This, I am 90% certain that I did get at a yard sale for 75 cents. I don't know exactly when, and I have a couple ideas as to how I stumbled upon it. It could have been a random yard sale. It could have been one that I remembered turned out to be someone my dad knew who had a son who was a little bit older than me, and maybe I got it from him. So there's potential I got this from somebody I know, but it probably was a random yard sale. Either way, 75 cents for Pokemon Yellow is pretty dang good, and I never played it. I think I literally bought it and then just never played it. So I popped it in the Game Boy, and not only did it work on the first try, unlike my other two games, the save file from the previous owner is still intact. So I hooked it up to my GBX cart, I backed up the ROM, and I backed up the save, because I really didn't want to lose that. And that's when I began to do a little archaeology. So the save belonged to Neo. They had 8 badges, 43 Pokemon in their Pokedex, and 30 hours into the game. So pretty promising. So when I load in, I discover that they had just beaten Lorelei. So that is one opponent in the Elite Four down, and that's when they put the game down. They didn't finish. Their team consisted of Pikachu, of course, a Pidgeot, and the rest are legendaries. Mewtwo, Zapdos, Moltres, Articuno. And yeah, every single flying Pokemon knew Fly, and when I looked in the settings, Neo was a fast tech speed gamer, so I have a pretty good feeling that me and Neo would have been friends back in the day. Because I definitely was the type to have legendaries on my team and just brute force everything. So I'm no expert when it comes to spotting cheating in a save file, but I am pretty sure there isn't any cheating going on here. There's no obvious signs, at least. There's no insane amount of items. In fact, I think we're a bit low on items for challenging the Elite Four. And we're also, again, not an expert here. I didn't really play through the Gen 1 games. Kind of short on money. And the reason why I say that is I'm currently doing my first playthrough of Pokemon Blue version, since I never played a Gen 1 game to completion. I've got 3 gym badges and about 40 grand. So, and to be fair, I'm a stickler for money. I always backtrack to a Pokemon Center for free heals. I try not to use items until I get to the Elite Four, but we're a little short on money. I also noticed the town map is not in the inventory. I'm hoping it's stored in the PC, but there's a pretty good chance Neo didn't pick it up at the beginning of the game, which is possible. There's more to see. Obviously, the Pokedex has 43 Pokemon registered, meaning there are Pokemon stored in Neo's PC. Unfortunately, because the Elite Four haven't been defeated yet, I can't leave. So, I'm thinking, I've already backed up the save, I've made a copy of the save. As easy as it could be to just throw the next match and then be able to explore the rest of the save, I think it would be more fun to finish what Neo started and beat the rest of the Elite Four with the team that Neo has. There's a problem with that. I ain't played a Pokemon game since 2013. X was the last game I played, and I didn't even finish it. I think I got 8 gym badges or something and didn't really... I don't even think I made it to the Elite Four. I think I dropped the game at that point. I'm a little rusty. I understand, I said earlier that I'm playing through Blue version right now, and I understand there are some things that work differently in Gen 1 games compared to later games, but I'm rusty. I have a vague idea of what I'm supposed to do and how I'm supposed to strategize during battles, but I'm rusty. I have forgotten a lot of things. Obviously, I've forgotten a lot of things. I forgot where my Nintendo Switch dock is, and that's only been a few years since I've lost that. So, obviously, I've lost a lot more knowledge on how Pokemon works. But I will try. We've got some things going for us. We've got legendaries. We've got a revive to use, so we can revive... I'm thinking I'm going to revive one of the legendary... Well, the only legendary that's fainted. We're short on items, unfortunately. We do have 12 full restores. We could do a couple full heals and a full restore. I think we can work with that. I think we can manage. We've got Mewtwo in our team. That's going to be our brute force Pokemon right there. I think that's going to be... We're going to save Mewtwo for last, but we're definitely probably going to end up relying on Mewtwo quite a bit, because we have a lot of flying types, which is not great, but it's not terrible, because they're also fire, ice, and electric, so, it's not a terrible team. They're legendaries, they got great stats. We can work with this. Even with my new lack of experience, let's put it that way. So what I'm going to do is, after this video goes live, and maybe a day or two goes by, I will go live on Twitch, and I will stream my attempt to beat the Elite Four with Neo's team, and finish what they started. And I hope you join me. Until next time.